Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Suwaib.
Yo, Abla, yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jel mo to nga andil mahalis. Hello?
Busel mo fine.
What?
Busel mo fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Busel mo fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
You're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on Friday, the 20th of June 2025. Now let's bring our politics-free week to a conclusion with a focus on education, because the University of Applied Sciences, Engineering and Technology will formally be inaugurated tomorrow, and I've got two gentlemen with me in the studio. We'll do the introductions first before we talk about what's in store tomorrow. Let me start with the gentleman right across the table from me. Please introduce yourself and welcome to Coffee Time on West Coast Radio.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Professor Ado Yusuf Abdul Fattah, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic of USET and also a Professor of Civil Engineering.
You're welcome
Thank
to
you.
the Gambia and also to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on West Coast Radio 2. And let's have the next speaker with us in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Pleasure to have us here. We're so delighted. I am Mr. Aliu Badara Sen. I'm the registrar for the University of Applied Science, Engineering and Technology.
Fantastic. You're both welcome. Professor, big day for you tomorrow. I mean, how are you looking forward to the day?
Convocation is the highest ceremony in any university. So we are fully prepared. From the time we received approval from our governing council and the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, we started our functions. We formed committees. We have our main committee chaired by the Vice Chancellor, that is the steering committee. Then there is a convocation planning committee chaired by myself. There is a convocation publications committee chaired by Professor Akilabi Oyetunji. Then we have a fundraising committee chaired by our Director of Finance, Mr. Julius Williams. We have a logistic committee which is in charge of the ground where the convocation will take place. It is chaired by Professor Oshualale. Then we have a gowns committee, which is chaired by Mrs. Fatoumata Jata. So we are fully prepared.
Absolutely. Did you need this approval? I mean, you only started working after you got approval from the Higher Education Ministry. Why is that important?
Yeah, the reason why we need approval is that Mr. President Adama Barrow is the Chancellor of the university, and he is the chief organizer of the whole event since he is the Chancellor. So we need to get approval for his time. Yeah, it's normally given 2 dates. Whenever a university in the Gambia here is about to do its convocation, if it is a public university where the president himself is the chancellor, 2 dates will be proposed for the presidency to choose one. So sometimes you can propose the 2 dates, and both two might not be suitable because of other engagements.
Absolutely. Never do a convocation in September because he goes to the United Nations General Assembly with a huge delegation. Okay, Professor, we'll give you, we'll allow you a pause for the moment and turn to Mr. Sen. Mr. Sen.
Peter, I just want to add one
sure.
drop there before we proceed. It's not approval per se. The essence of the communication is to make sure that the key stakeholders, particularly our ministry and our chancellor, actually, who is the president, His Excellency Adam Barrow, we're in proper communication to make sure that our diaries communicate as per schedules so that we wouldn't have hitches here and there. Because an event of this nature is a high-profile event for the university.
Absolutely.
And being the first time ever in the history of tertiary and higher education in the perspective of engineering, which Gambians are so much accelerated, and would be very important that we have it one of the most successfully hosted event. So it's actually not necessarily seeking an approval, but making sure that institutions communicate properly.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So it's a two-in-one event.
Yes.
Convocation, yes, but also inauguration of this first University of Applied Sciences, Engineering and Technology in the country. What can, take us through the program that you have lined up.
Okay, it's a loaded program, but also well conscripted. And as you rightly mentioned, you have the inauguration of the USET campus, which is a magnificent edifice. And also the convocation also is history, which is a very, very historic legacy. Yeah.
It's going to be a day of firsts.
Perfect. And the program goes as scheduled, and we'll be expecting high-profile dignitaries, ambassadors, ministers, you name them.
You can't go higher than a president, and he's guaranteed to be there. So
exactly. So, and students are also excited. Families. These are things that have never happened in history, and for the first time. So there would be statements apart from the procession. There would be statements from the.
So there's going to be a procession of.
Absolutely, it's going to have a befitting outlook of a convocation proper. When we talk about convocation before, probably minds would just be shifting onto UTG.
Yeah, well.
So, this is another
You
opportunity.
can't blame anyone. I mean, until now we had only UTG.
Well, kudos also to our Ministry for Higher Education for pushing thus far to make sure that, Gambians see a different new look of Gambia and have a new hope for the country. And therefore, this is the beginning of a different dispensation. Yeah.
Let me go back to Professor. Professor, I mean, we've just, made the point that USET is new. This is the first convocation, and, the university campus will only be inaugurated on Saturday. Yeah. What's life been like, starting a whole new project, if you like? I guess you were there with USET from day one.
I cannot say from day one. I joined the university 1 year ago.
Okay.
I am part of the 18 professors and lecturers sent by the Nigerian government to come and kickstart, or we can say jumpstart, because the university started about 4 or 5 years back. So we joined the university when the first cohort were in their final year. Yeah, we are here.
So the first 4 or 5 years would have been transitional years, I suppose.
Yes,
transitioning from a technical training institute to a full-fledged university.
Yeah, so the program started in collaboration with Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, Ghana. And it is under the World Bank. So we met a World Bank consultant, Professor Samuel Ofori, who was here as consultant for the World Bank, and being a professor in mechanical engineering. The university was his. So the Gambian government appointed him to serve as interim vice chancellor. So we took over from him. My vice chancellor, Professor Nazmat Sirajuddin Bakinde, and myself as Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics. We have Director Academic Planning and Quality Assurance, Professor Tefa Gundu, and Director Research and Grants, Professor Akilabi Oyetunji. They are all part of my team. We came in as a team of 18 with 5 professors. Others are lecturers from university, from Polytechnic, and the College of Education, because it is an institution that is planned to continue with its mandate of awarding certificates, diploma, and higher diplomas in line with the degree program, which is new. So it is now a university with 3 sections. We have Institute of Technical Training, which we have now changed it to be Institute of Technology in order to award degree itself.
Okay.
Then we have new institute, which is Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, because from the initial setup, the university is being established to train engineers, technologists in entrepreneurship, so that at the end of program of any student, a student can be on his own instead of looking for
be self-employed.
Yeah. So instead of looking for employment, he can employ others. So that is the essence of the second institute. Then the newly College of Science and Engineering. That is where engineering degrees are being offered. So it's a university with 3 sections at the moment.
Okay. And I suppose, you've worked in other universities before. How do you see the prospects of USET? I mean, we can't compare it yet to, older universities, but in terms of its prospects, how do you see them?
Yeah, I can say that I'm convinced that in the next few years, USET will be everywhere in the world.
And a few years will be what, 5 years at most?
At least 5 years. Yeah, because of
at least, not at most.
Yeah,
Okay,
at least 5 years.
At least.
Yeah, because of the setup. Engineering is a very big program. You can run medical school in a university, but to have engineering school is very difficult because of the equipment.
So this is a great achievement for the Gambia.
Very great achievement. We always say it. The engineering equipment we met now, which are being installed at the moment, are worth $2 million. We have in civil engineering department where I am, we have 3 laboratories: soil laboratory, we have a material testing laboratory, and surveying laboratory. In electrical and electronics engineering department, there are 7 model laboratories. Mechanical engineering department, they have 4 laboratories plus 4 workshops. So if you add up, we have about 20 laboratory and workshops. It is not every university that you meet this.
And I was just about to ask, how long normally would it take a normal university to have all these resources that you have just, discussed?
Actually, it is not easy to have all this, all what USET is having at the moment. I am a professor with, let's say, over 20 years experience in university education. And since I'm an engineer, I am more close to engineering fields. I know my own university, and I have been to many other universities in my country, in other countries, including United Kingdom, where I did my master's and PhD, also United States, where I was there as an academic visitor, Canada, Middle East, and a lot of other places. It is very difficult to have a university with all the laboratories we are having at the moment. Maybe some universities can excel in one area, but to have everything, USET is unique.
Wow.
I can tell you.
Wow, that's
Because myself, despite my experience in university and also my visit to other universities, we still have equipment which it is only here I started to know them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Sometimes it takes somebody else, to recognize what you have than yourself. It's very good that you're telling us we have, all this stuff. And USET has just been described, Aliu, as unique. Well, one thing about us Gambians, we are said not to be good at maintaining. Maintenance is an Achilles heel for us. Yes. So, as registrar, part of the local staff, how will you ensure that this unique facility we have is well maintained?
Peter, that's a very important question. And once you talk about maintenance, I brought in my head talking about sustainability. And this is where discipline comes in, from the institution's perspective, from the Gambian perspective. And maintenance, one of our strategies is to make sure that we have trained technicians with proper guiding, programs to make sure that whatever this equipment requires in terms of maintenance for durability is actually being highly respected. And this is where the culture of good practice starts, so that once you get into the wider system, you implement that good practice. Just yesterday we had a discussion trying to make reference to China's rapid development. And I said, China's development just anchored on one thing.
What?
That's discipline. Now, it's a matter of how do you dissect it? How do you look at it? The various perspectives we're talking about. But it's very, very important as far as the development of this country is concerned.
Right.
And USET must have to start that as a good reference.
Okay. And in terms of, partnerships, who is supporting USET? $2 million. Ordinarily, if the Gambia had that money, I don't think it would think about, equipping USET first and foremost, especially when people are crying about the cost of living crisis. So who is supporting the universities? Who are your development partners?
To start with, Peter, before I answer your question, I want to pay my special respect and tribute to the late Honorable Badara Diouf. Peter, you see, today we're talking about it, but where is he? And he knew that what he was pursuing for or going for was not for his own prominence.
So USET is, in effect, the brainchild of the late Vice President?
Yes,
okay.
Trying to tie it to the government as a minister of the government of His Excellency Adama Barrow. And the support came through the World Bank, actually through the ACE, Africa Center of Excellence, and Badara felt the need for Gambia to move is highly necessary as far as youth matters are concerned. And for youth to be taken care of as far as their development needs are concerned, it cannot be in any other area than in education. Coincided with the time that you had so much backway syndromes going on, how many youths we've lost. So the government actually pursued the need for USET to come in. That's why you see that USET came in through kind of a project. But also, on the flip side of the coin, it came to stand in as a university. So, yes, the ACE project came in, and this was through the Science and Technology Engineering Entrepreneurship, that's the STEE. And at the same time, we make sure that it's going to metamorphosize to be the university that is going to stand on its feet gradually. And it was almost about $12 million project, which, encompasses teaching and learning and tools and equipment and other capacity building. We've sent almost about 13 PhD students in KNUST. And we were working with KNUST and De Montfort University. And for the first time, for your
Leicester.
information, in Leicester, yes. But the beauty about it is our first graduates are not only engineers, but these are engineers that are also graduating with a degree in entrepreneurship for the first time. That's why the program was so intensive for Gambians. And you can see that you really have to be very strong in order to make it through. And thank God, we are expecting almost about 29 graduates. Actually, as Gambians, sometimes when you start with this kind of lofty thinking, people kind of think, that didn't them. I hope it will work. But thank God, it has become a reality today. After 4 good years, today we are converging engineers, our first homegrown engineers, to be awarded degrees for the first time. And as you were just asking, for the next 5 years, we should be able to see the impact, not only having engineers, but technicians that are going to be properly groomed to be able to address our developmental needs.
Okay, in terms of access, how affordable is USET education?
Yes.
There's no point having this unique, institute of learning if Gambians, can't afford it.
Yes, coming back as a starter, our government, through the World Bank project, have been providing a lot of support in terms of free scholarships. And the Ministry of Higher Education is still doing that. The most important thing is make sure it is competitive. You have the right results to be able to access, because you cannot compromise quality. And it's just like medicine. If you want to have compromised access standards, then that means that our medical system is going to be something else. So the same thing would happen to engineering. And we try to make sure that the access is very, very competitive, so that at the end of the day, the service that you would expect from USET would definitely be very much assuring.
I would come back to you in a moment to tell us, to give us more detail about the program for tomorrow, because we are building up actually for events tomorrow. Professor, maybe we're running out of time. Just a final question in terms of the quality of the students that you are dealing with. I just spoke about the need for access. There's no point having this unique institution as you describe it if Gambians cannot afford it. But then you can't also compromise quality, as he says. I mean, you need the right type of students, capable students, teachable students, in order to, have maximum impact. The students that you're working with, how do you find them?
Yeah, I can say that they are good to work with. When we look at the engineering students, that is at the college, we can say that there are students who are ready to learn. And they are also lucky to have a mix of lecturers. My registrar has just mentioned De Montfort University, KNUST, that is Kwame Nkrumah University, in addition to, let's say, about 10 universities, because we are 18 from different Nigerian universities.
Oh, wow.
So you have students who are being taught by a mixture of nationalities with different experience. So at the end of the day, each student is expected to be more than any one of us. Do you get my point?
And do you see the potential in them to be more than any one of you?
Yeah, there are graduates at the moment that can work anywhere in the world.
Ah, fantastic.
Yes,
Fantastic.
they are well grounded.
Fantastic.
I can tell you that.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Professor, thank you very much for your time this morning. In the final 2 minutes we have, Aliu.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us about the program tomorrow. Yes.
The program tomorrow, as we said, is just going to be a very short one.
Short one?
Yes, short one. It's going to be something like about 3 hours to 4 hours.
That's not short.
Well, I would say ideally.
To keep Mr. President for 3 hours?
Yes, that's very. I'm trying to make that to give people more confidence and to make sure that nothing to be panicked about.
Okay.
Yes, because it's going to be very much interesting. When we receive our special guests, our partners, we're expecting, Gaston Berger and other partners, probably from Leicester.
Gaston Berger in Senegal.
Yes, because we've already developed partnership with them.
It used to be a high school. Do they have a university?
Yes.
Used to be,
I
remember when we were going to high school, Lycée
I'm sure
Gaston
it might have
Berger.
been University of St. Louis, probably renamed to Gaston Berger. But currently it's University of Gaston Berger.
Okay.
And we've been working with them, especially in the promotion of STEM and teaching of mathematics and other areas. Exactly.
Technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yes, absolutely. And the procession would be led by the president. You will have the USET senators will be part of it, and there would be conferment of degrees, and there would be a valedictorian, Prof. And it will have the actual outlook of a convocation in short. And the president is very, very much impressed about it. We had a briefing to his office on Tuesday, and to give him updates with regards to our level of preparedness. So the chairman of the governing council would be there to give a statement. Excuse me, the vice chancellor and other high-profile dignitaries, the World Bank and the like. So because we have a trail of, activities, we try to make it as short as possible so that everybody would have a taste of the pie and the visibility that USET actually envisages.
And the venue is?
Absolutely.
The venue is where?
The venue is at Birkama, just right behind Nari.
Okay. Or
you call it behind the Gambia College. That's where you have the first ever newly constructed USET edifice. Very, very, very much beautiful. And
better than Faraba Banta campus?
We are not trying to be competing with Faraba, but this is at the beginning of the race.
Okay. All right. Aliu, thank you so much. We'll have to go back to the professor. Apparently, looks like he's got something to add. Yes.
My registrar missed one important point.
Which is?
Among the people to be conferred degree on is Mr. President himself.
Oh, really?
Yes. We are going to confer degree of engineering and technology.
Barrow is about to become an engineer.
Yes, because of his support.
Well, he should leave the presidency then and go and start maybe what? Aviation engineer?
General engineering and technology.
All right, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Ali, thank you so very much for your time. And that brings us to the end of our program.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jams, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta to dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Busel mu fine.
What?
Busel mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave in Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Busel mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.